In Capital News tonight, President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan has called on CCM members to be united in coming elections. Water levels at the Great Ruah River have decreased due to human activities and effects of climate change. And in sports, the National Baseball League has been officially launched today. Good evening. This is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. The 10th Chama cha Mapinduzi CCM Party Congress has begun today at the country's headquarters in Dodoma, with the party's chairperson, President of Tanzania, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, saying the party intends to make significant management reforms while also directing leaders of all levels to set strategies to strengthen the party and ensure it stands strong in the 2024 and 2025 elections.
Kuwa CCM inatakiwa kuwa mfano wa kuigwa na vyama vingine, hivyo katiba, sheria na kanuni lazima zifuatwe. Kwa wote walioshiriki katika chaguzi hizo, iwe wamechaguliwa au kura hazikutosha, watambue kwamba wao bado ni wanachama wa Chama cha Mapinduzi.
Mkutano huu wa 10 wa CCM wa taifa, bali na kutekeleza jukumu lake la kikatiba, pia unafanyika wakati ambapo chama chetu kimepitia katika mazingira yafuatayo. Mosi, chama chetu kimefikisha miaka 45 tangu kuzaliwa kwake tarehe 5 Februari mwaka 1977. Mbili, chama chetu kimeadhimisha kumbukumbu ya miaka 100 ya kuzaliwa kwa baba wa taifa hayati Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere na miaka 23 ya kifo chake.
On behalf of Frelimo, its members and supporters, we are grateful for the invitation addressed to us to participate in this 10th Congress of Chama cha Mapinduzi, a sister party with which we remain historically and strategically related in the bilateral scope and in the broader context in terms of the Southern African region. In this context, Frelimo, its members and supporters salute the sister party Chama cha Mapinduzi, in particular Rais Comrade Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of CCM and the United Republic of Tanzania, for holding this conference in this beautiful city of Dodoma. Viva Presidente Samia Suluhu Hassan! Viva CCM! Viva Tanzania y Mozambique!
And destruction of water resources due to various human activities and the effects of climate change have affected a part of the Great Ruah River, a situation that is threatening various living organisms and the environment.
We are currently in an area called Ibuguzwa, the bridge. This is where the deepest part of the river is, and we can see the situation. It has dried up. This situation has destroyed the animal ecology and distribution here. There are no animals as we speak.
Tumeweza kuchimba mabwawa zaidi ya 32 ya mchangani. Ni mabwawa ya muda mfupi.
River Ruaha has dried and there is no water flowing. This has affected the animals. During tourism, there are a lot of animals close to or on the banks of the river, but now they are not there. We have managed to build over 32 short-term dams so that the animals can get water along 60 kilometers of the river, which will be covered by sand when the rains fall and water levels rise. The Land and Transport Regulatory Authority, LATRA, and Kilimanjaro region, in collaboration with the police force in the region, have begun an inspection exercise of passenger buses going to different regions, as well as use of e-ticketing services at the main bus station in Moshi.
Watu wa huduma kuzingatia kwamba wanafuata taratibu na kuelekeza watumishi wao hasa madereva.
Service providers must follow procedures, especially directing drivers and servers in the vehicles to follow all rules, including road and safety laws. We have experienced challenges during holiday seasons in previous years, which include hikes in fare prices, but now the government has directed how e-ticketing should be used.
Magari yetu ambayo yanaanza safari.
Our vehicles that are starting their trips will continuously be inspected to ensure passengers leave Kilimanjaro region and arrive their destinations safely.
Fika wakiwa salama.
With the Christmas and New Year season underway, prices of grains such as rice and beans have increased, with 1 kilo of rice selling at between 2,400 to 3,700 shillings, while prices for beans have risen to 3,500 shillings per kilo due to scarcity.
Mabei ni makubwa na mali nzuri hazipatikani.
Consumers have reduced due to high prices, and the good quality beans cannot be found. This year's season is very different from others.
Tele msimu wa sikukuu kweli umekaribia Krismasi, lakini tele hawezi kushuka bei.
Christmas season is upon us, but rice prices will not go down. They will stay the same like they are now.
Mtazamo tunaoona ni kwamba huu mwaka tunaweza tukaukaribisha mwaka mpya na sikukuu ya
What we can see is that this year we may welcome the holidays with high prices due to inflation. Today, the price of rice still starts from 2,400 all the way to 3,100. Prices for beans are also high, so we are experiencing challenges in this sector.
Maharage bado bei ziko juu. Bei zinaanzia 2,600 mpaka 3,000. Kwa hiyo tuna changamoto kidogo kwenye eneo hilo.
Tanzania Federation of Disabled People's Organizations, Shivyawata, has called for good management of 960 million shillings that was given by the President of Tanzania, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, for the construction of dormitories in 8 schools with students that have special needs so as to bring about the expected results.
Ili mabweni haya kwanza yajengwe kwa kuzingatia viwango tarajiwa. Yajengwe kwa kuzingatia viwango vya ufikikaji kwa mujibu wa miongozo iliyopo, kwa maana kila mtoto mwenye ulemavu aweze kuyatumia, na tunatamani yawe mabweni ambayo yatakuwa yametimia, kwa maana ni jengo, vitanda na magodoro, ili watoto wetu wakiweza kutumia majengo hayo moja kwa moja wanaonufaika na hiyo huduma inayotolewa.
Lakini kitu ambacho kitatoka, je, ni sawa na thamani ya fedha iliyotoka na ni kwa wakati? Kwa hiyo tupeane tu kwamba tuseme tu kwamba ili lisiwe tu ni jicho la mama kumulika, lakini watu wote, wadau wote kwenye maeneo husika.
Some people have been arrested by the Defense and Safety Committee in Gator region for transporting an illegal consignment of charcoal from Chato and Gator forest reserves, with the vehicles used to carry the sacks of charcoal nationalized on the spot.
Na hawa wanatembea para silaha, wanatembea na mapanga. Kusudi ukionana na hawa njiani, hawa wanaonyesha mapanga. Sasa hawa ni mmoja wapo tu. Hebu tuchukulie hatua stahiki. Tukomeshe hawa watu. Hawa mfano, mimi nitashangaa hapa zile hii pikipiki nitaikuta hata mtaani. Nitashangaa hata hii pikipiki inaonekana inakimbia barabarani, imeachiwa. Nitashangaa kweli kweli yani. Hawa naomba wawe mfano halisi hawa. Sana sana.
And the Drug Control and Enforcement Agency Authority has seized 16.643 kilos of illegal drugs that include 15.19 kilos of heroin, 655.75 grams of cocaine, and 968.67 grams of methamphetamines. 7 people have been arrested in connection to the incident.
watuhumiwa 7 ambao tumewakamata katika operation hizi.
The 7 suspects we have arrested during these operations are in 2 groups. The 3 suspects in the first group are conspirators of Kambi Zubaid's safe and the others. They were found with 15.19 kilos of heroin. In the second group, there are new suspects found with 655.75 grams of cocaine and 968.67 grams of methamphetamines. 2 musicians, if they want to find fame through promoting use of drugs, we will not leave them, and action will be taken.
Za dawa za kulevya aina ya cocaine, lakini pia tuliwakuta na gramu 968.67 za dawa aina ya methamphetamine.
Maruku Primary Court Magistrate in Bukoba District Council, Kagera Region, Tumaini John Kiyoyere and her husband Geoffrey John died on the spot after being hit by a Yutong bus owned by Happy Nation Company with registration numbers T701DFV that was coming from Dar es Salaam and heading to the main Bukoba bus stand.
Jeshi la polisi mkoa wa Kagera linamshikilia.
The police force in Kagera region is detaining the driver of the bus Happy Nation known as Shaban Kaptibu, aged 38, and a resident of Dar es Salaam for causing the deaths of 2 people following an accident where the bus hit a motorcycle. Investigations have shown that the bike driver, who is the deceased, and his passenger was hit or pushed by another motorbike who's being searched for, leading them to fall under the bus, causing their death.
Ni marehemu pamoja na abiria wake alikuwa amegongwa au kusukumwa na mwendesha pikipiki mwingine ambaye bado juhudi za kumtafuta zinaendelea.
That's all for the national news. International news is next. In international news. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, people displaced due to the ongoing fighting between the M23 rebel group and government military forces have expressed concern on the deteriorating security situation. The concerns come despite the M23 group saying it is ready to withdraw from occupied territory in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo and that it will support regional peace-making efforts even though it is not being represented in talks.
Yetu hatuna mabashi, tuko manyumba moja ziko na mamestiker, njali natua hapa, vraiment hapa siwe kama sisi tulifanya kosa gani.
Wenyewe tuko napita hapa, sie tunapenda turudie kwetu, juu tunahangaika sana njala, make tunateseka sana. Kama banatusaidia tunarudia kwetu pale, banatusaidia sana.
Itusamehe tena, itusamehe irudie kwenye ilitokea. Basi tunamaliza teseka, inatutesa. Kama kuko chenye tulishaifanyizia, basi tunaiomba huruma itusaidie irudie kwenye ilitokea, basi bandugu turudie mu byetu.
And in Kenya, Azimio la Umoja One, a Kenya coalition party has accused President Ruto's government of discarding people's agenda under which they were elected to office. The allegations were made by Azimio leader Raila Odinga at Kamkunji grounds in Nairobi, where the party vowed to continue holding such forums across the country in pursuit of a nation that cares for its citizens, respects the rule of law, and honors the principles of inclusivity in line with the Constitution.
Leo wote ambaye amesimama hapo mbele amesema gharama maisha imepanda. Si imepanda kabisa. Sema maisha imepanda sana. Chakula iko kali. Bei ya nauli ya kusafiri iko kali. Kodi ya nyumba ndio hiyo hiyo. Mafuta hiyo hiyo, sivyo? Yale yote yamewasaidia hawa watu. Sisi tumekuwa pande ile, tulikuwa na shauri huru. Waambie ya kwamba vijana wako na shida. Leta kazi mtaani iendelee.
Niseme azimio inawezekana na itawezekana, na nitamwelezea bibi leo. Mimi nataka kuambia serikali ni aina mbili. Serikali ya kuchaguliwa na ya kunyakua. Ile iko Kenya walinyakua kwa njia zao.
German Vice-Chancellor Habeck is on an Africa tour in Southern Africa, accompanied with a business delegation, with economic and energy cooperation being among the main agendas of discussion. For more on this, let's join our Deutsche Welle correspondent, Thomas Sparrow. Thomas, the German Vice-Chancellor has travelled to Namibia and South Africa. Why these two countries in particular?
Well, one element in particular, if you look at it from the political perspective, is the fact that Germany has a rather problematic colonial history in Southern Africa, in Namibia. So one of the elements that has led actually Germany's Vice-Chancellor to travel to those two countries, in particular again to Namibia, is to try and solve some of the issues that are still pending when it comes to dealing with Germany's colonial past. As I say, a very problematic colonial past. But officially, the main reason for this trip to those two countries has to do with energy and energy diversification. You may know that Germany was highly dependent on Russian energy, and when the war in Ukraine started, Germany tried to reduce that dependence, and a way in which they tried to reduce that dependence is by looking to partners elsewhere. So going to different countries around the world and trying to sign cooperation agreements. And in the particular case of Southern Africa, that cooperation agreement that Germany is interested in has to do with so-called green hydrogen. And that's one of the reasons why Germany is actually interested in working closer together with Southern Africa. But, and I would like to stress this, that cooperation does not restrict itself to Southern Africa. So basically Germany is also looking at partners in other parts of the continent. So that means that if a particular country in Africa is important when it comes to solar energy or wind-powered energy, then Germany, and by the way other European countries, would also consider the possibility of working together with them. And again, something that Germany has stressed all along, this would be cooperation on equal footing.
What partnership has Germany agreed to beyond Africa?
So beyond Africa, one that grabbed headlines in the last few days, in the last few weeks, was an energy cooperation with Qatar. So Qatar will provide LNG, so liquefied natural gas, to Germany, and that is also something controversial here in the country, because Germany does not necessarily see eye to eye with Qatar when it comes to certain political elements of the relationship and certain political statements that come from Qatari authorities. But again, Germany has been trying in that particular case to differentiate between the economic interests that it might have, the economic interest that its partner might also have, and the political differences that might happen there. And something similar, by the way, can apply to Africa. You may know that when it comes to the war in Ukraine, there are different views from African countries compared to the ones here in Europe. And UN resolutions, several African countries have abstained from signing up to resolutions that condemn Russia's actions, whereas here in Europe, European Union leaders have voted in favor of that. So again, there are differences when it comes to dealing with African countries and Germany in particular, but there is an interest in trying to find common ground. There is an interest in particular with African countries to try and find not only political agreements, but also economic agreements as well.
How important is Africa for Germany?
It is certainly important, especially considering all the different current crises. It's not only the effects of the war in Ukraine, relations to Russia. It's also about tackling climate change. It's about dealing with the aftermath of the pandemic. It's about handling further potential international health crises. Germany would like a partnership with Africa, as I mentioned, on an equal footing, according to the German government, in order to find answers to global challenges. But, and this is a relevant but, this is not always easy to put in practice, especially considering how many different interests are at stake.
Thank you for the update, Thomas, and that report ends our international news. Business News is next. In business news, police have arrested 5 people and seized 440 kilos of sugar and packaging materials at Mlowo area in Mbozi District, Songwe region, where illegal sugar production activities were being conducted.
Wakiwa na jumla ya kilo 440 za sukari bandia na mashine aina 3 tofauti. Hizi mashine zinatumika katika kufungasha bidhaa ya sukari, mikasi 3, mifuko tupu zaidi ya 110 ya sukari ya kilogramu 50 ya kampuni ya Salma Sugar Company Limited. Inasemekana kampuni iko ni ya nchi jirani huko, lakini mifuko tupu 44.
The Business Registration and Licensing Agency, BRELA, has called on companies to register their businesses with the agency so as to access various opportunities from the government as well as financial institutions.
Endapo mtu hajarasmisha biashara zake ni vigumu sana kudili na masuala ya procurement.
If a person has not formalized their business, it is very difficult for them to engage in procurement. Your business has to be formalized. If it is not done at BRELA, you will not have that opportunity. It is important for suppliers to get information from BRELA when engaging in procurement for the government or private companies.
Katika presentation ya BRELA,
the presentation by BRELA has increased our knowledge on how to deal with various companies asking for jobs in the government, so as to avoid traps, including entering into contracts with companies that cannot fulfill them or those that are bankrupt.
Tunaingia na makampuni yasiyo na uwezo au yaliyofilisika au yasiyofanya kazi ambazo tunayapatia zabuni hizo.
The Deputy Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Finance and Planning, Lawrence Mafuru, has directed planners to come up with development strategies that will help speed up economic growth in the country.
This symposium has had a unique importance, especially because it is conducted annually. The importance of planning in the country is key because we do not do anything without planning. The country has limited resources and many needs, so it is important to determine which resources be used in what area.
Kwa hivyo kuchagua ni rasilimali zipi zitumike kufanya jambo gani kunahitaji mipango.
That is all for Business News. Sports is next. And now in sports. In the ongoing NBC Premier League, Yanga faced off against Namungo FC earlier today, with Yanga winning 2-0 against Namungo. Scorers included Yannick Bangalo and Twisila Kisingo. And in baseball, the National Baseball League has been officially launched with the current format expected to make the competition tougher.
Here to facilitate the baseballship education seminar for Tanzanian coaches and players. Then what we are going to do is the baseballship. Baseballship is to nurture young people through baseball to be a good sportsman, sportswoman. Sportsman, sportswoman means having a good discipline, good respect, and good justice, and express their values to their life. So it is called a life skill. We are going to nurture life skill to young people. That is, but using baseball and softball, that's why we are saying baseballship.
And Gator Gold FC have parted ways with last year's season striker George Mpole. Here is more on the story.
George Mpole is no longer their player after his contract ended. The last season Golden Boot winner in the mainland Premier League was not a regular in the squad, with the team management citing discipline issues as the reason. The player is now a free agent, but might face a challenge of getting top teams due to his lack of match fitness.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Vanessa Vector. Thank you for watching and have a good night.
Capital News at 9:30 and get updated on what is happening in Tanzania and around the world on political, social, and economic issues and events, without forgetting business and sports news. You can get it all right here on Capital News at 9:30 from Monday to Friday on Zuku Channel 067, Digitech Channel 1103 and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania.
Ni msimu wa kusherehekea, ni msimu wa furaha na upendo, na ITV, Radio 1, Capital Radio na Capital TV tupo pamoja nawe. Tumekuandalia punguzo kubwa la bei kwa matangazo yako. Ewe mfanyabiashara, mwaka huu usikubali kuachwa nyuma. Njoo utangaze nasi bidhaa na huduma zako kwa bei za kujiachia kabisa. Kwa ITV utapata matangazo 5 ya graphics kwa $500 tu, na kwa Radio 1 utalipa matangazo 5 ya kawaida na utapata matangazo 2 bure. Capital TV, Capital Radio na Digital kote bei ni karibu na bure. Usiseme hukujua. Ofa hii ni kuanzia tarehe 15 Novemba mpaka tarehe 15 Januari 2023. Vigezo na masharti kuzingatiwa. Kwa maelezo zaidi wasiliana na idara ya masoko kwa simu namba 0658 777144 au 0784 611112 au 0783 892833.
Mtazamaji wa ITV Super Brand Afrika Mashariki popote pale ulipo duniani, pamoja na msikilizaji wa Radio 1, jina langu ni Benjamin Mzinga. Karibuni sana katika kipindi hiki cha dakika 45. Tutakuwa hapo kwa takriban dakika 45 tukiwa na Bi Angela Anatori ambaye yeye ni kabidhi wasii mkuu na afisa mtendaji mkuu kutokea wakala wa usajili, ufilisi na udhamini RITA. Wako wengi ambao wamekuwa wakisikia RITA wamekuwa wakihusika na masuala ya vyeti vya kuzaliwa, masuala ya usajili kwa upande wa vifo. Sasa hayo yote na mengine, majukumu ya RITA ni hayo tu ama yako mengi ndani yake? Niko hapa kwa ajili ya kuweza kuuliza maswali ambayo wewe utahitaji majibu yake. Karibu sana katika dakika 45.
Asante.
Nimefurahia sana uwepo wako siku hii ya leo.
Nashukuru.
Kabla ya kwenda ndani kabisa kujikita moja kwa moja, kuna watu watakuwa na maswali kuhusiana na kabidhi wasii mkuu. alafu na afisa mtendaji mkuu. Mwingine atajiuliza kwa nini sibaki afisa mtendaji mkuu? Kwa nini kuna kabidhi wasii mkuu? Una taasisi mbili tofauti ama taasisi ni hiyo moja, majukumu tofauti? Karibu katika hili tuwekee msingi mzuri hapa, alafu tutaingia moja kwa moja kudadavua hoja yetu ya leo.
Kabidhi wasii mkuu maana yake ni mtu anayetunza amana. Na hapo mwanzo kabidhi wasii mkuu